The teaching that a representative world of sensuous objects is created through spiritual influx stands as one of the most magnificent revelations made to humanity. While this doctrine is relatively easy to grasp when considering the spiritual world, its application to the natural world poses significant challenges for many. In the spiritual realm, the creation of objects through spiritual influx is more readily understood. However, when this principle is applied to the natural world, it becomes difficult for many to comprehend. This difficulty arises because our immediate experience of life is deeply immersed in space and time, and so the mind makes false conclusions that are drawn from thinking of them as real things rather than representations of spiritual realities. People tend to think that the production of a spiritual world with all its mental objects is vastly different from the production of the natural world as perceived through the senses. They believe that in the spiritual world, mental objects appear in the sensuous faculties as the objects of that world, but that the objects of the natural world exist independently of the mental life of human beings. However, this belief is mistaken. There is no difference between the two worlds in their external appearances. The supposed two worlds are merely two distinct states of the will and intellect, appearing identical in their external forms. Both are representative worlds, with their objects being effects corresponding to the spheres of mind, whether spiritual or natural, through which they are produced. In both cases, these objects are produced by an influx of divine life terminating in the sentient faculties. This truth directly opposes the false conclusions drawn by the natural mind concerning the appearances of things in this world. These erroneous conclusions must be reversed. Only then can we see that the influx of divine creative life does not pass beyond the sentient faculties into a hypothetical space and time, regardless of how seductive the appearances might be to the contrary. It is a grave error to believe that the Lord God created and prepared a world of space, either from his own being or from nothing, and placed human beings in its midst to draw from it, through physical influx, the materials from which his mind was to be constructed. Such a belief contradicts the true nature of divine creation and the relationship between the spiritual and natural worlds. From this understanding, it becomes clear that death is nothing more than the passage from a natural state of the will and intellect into a spiritual state. This transition occurs when the former state is completed, and a person is rendered fit for either the blessedness of heaven or the depravity of hell. This shift is a progression of the divine influx, moving from the external appearances of the natural world to the deeper realities of the spiritual world. The revelation of the creation of a representative world through spiritual influx challenges our perceptions of reality. By understanding that both the natural and spiritual worlds are products of divine life manifesting through the sentient faculties, we can begin to see beyond the fallacies of space and time. This profound insight not only enriches our spiritual understanding, but also reshapes our view of the natural world and our place within it.